the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
For the first hit. Rutschman into right field. Down the line. A fair ball. Adley will turn first. Head for second. He's going to turn second. Go for third. Rutschman into third base standing. An extra base hit. His first hit in the major leagues. Welcome to the...
Those are long pitch innings. I think Blister, that's what you were to make sure.
Here's a high fly ball into right. Back his bat's on the move. On the track. He's got catch by Mookie Betts.
Now, Clifford looking for a clean inning here in the seventh.
Hit well out to right center field. Jones still on the move, running out of room, and he made it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Ballpark. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Morant, alongside Brendan Cunningham. And today we're going to be talking about free agents for 2024. We'll be doing a little bit of a free agency preview. We'll give you all the positions and all the notable players that you need to know at all those positions. I think we should start it off by congratulating Texas Rangers, first World Series in franchise history. So congratulations to them. Obviously, they beat the Orioles all along the way. But yeah, they took down the Diamondbacks in 5. Kind of unfortunate that they didn't do it in Texas, but they got it done. They got it done fairly easily. Corey Seager, World Series MVP, and Texas brings home its first title in franchise history. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, just good for Texas. I think, in the offseason, we knew they were going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be this good. And to make it a championship, to have the run that they did, I think was really impressive. To beat Houston, who's a tough team, and Diamondbacks is a good team. I don't know about as good as Houston, but it's still a good team. To beat them, it was really good for them after, tough losses in the World Series before to finally get done. Great.
Yeah, and how about Corey Seager winning his second World Series MVP? He won one with the Dodgers in 2020, and now returning to the World Series in 2023, he picks up his second World Series MVP. Very few players have done that. Won 2 World Series MVPs on 2 different teams. Do you think that Corey Seager could be the American League MVP next year?
I think he just has that thing. He got that. He's just cool in the moment, In the clutch, he's clutch. He knows when to turn on.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he obviously had that big game-tying home run in Game 1 of the World Series. That was electrifying, for sure. And yeah, it was quite a postseason. It was definitely more interesting. I think there were a lot of teams that we expected to be there, but weren't, and then a lot of teams that we didn't expect to be there were. What was your kind of overall assessment of the postseason?
I think it was a year of underdogs. Teams we didn't like you said. I think a lot of people, the Phillies going far, and the Orioles, and the Houston. So we had Texas, but Diamondbacks was definitely a curveball. That was not something we saw coming out of the NLCS, and even making there was impressive, but to even win, it was even more. So I think this was just an odd season in the playoffs, but also a good one, because of what you didn't know was going to come. You didn't expect who was going to win, because anyone could have won.
That's true. We expected kind of like the Yankees and the Mets to be some of the heavy hitters in the regular season, and look back, like they really didn't do that much to get to the playoffs, and then you saw teams like the Orioles and Diamondbacks exceed expectations, building off some great 2022 regular seasons. So yeah, it was definitely I agree with what you said, a postseason of underdogs. But we'll get to the free agents. Every position we'll just go position by position. We'll kind of point out the notable guys, and then we'll give you some predictions. We'll alternate position by position to lead. I'll start off with catchers. Um, not a lot of catching to be had here. It's pretty thin. So if you do need a catcher, you're not really gonna have a lot of excitement here. I think Gary Sanchez might be one of the highlights. Kind of trying to. He was a bit of a floater this year, kind of trying to find a job somewhere, and then Mitch Garver, Victor Caratini, Tom Murphy, Roberto Perez, Austin Hedges, Kirk Sowley, and then maybe Jorge Alfaro if you see some intrigue there with the bat. It's just not very exciting. There's just not a lot going on over here. I think a lot of these guys are gonna be kind of niche players and do what they do best in certain spots, but overall, just not a lot to open your eyes about.
Yeah, catcher's definitely a weak position. Now I'm on to first base. Also very kind of thin. You got a few names up top. You got guys like Rhys Hoskins, who's a stud. Carlos Santana's good, not great, but good. And you got Brandon Belt, Donovan Sloan. I mean, it's thin. CJ Cron's down there. Thinks still he's good. But it's a lot of old guys. I mean, the youngest guy on there is Rhys Hoskins at 31. So definitely, you're looking at some older fellas. You got guys like Joey Votto and Yuli Gurriel at 40 who are free agents. So also kind of thin, but Rhys Hoskins is definitely a big guy to get. I can see him. Phillies, they spend a lot of money. I'm not sure. They also have a pitcher, Aaron Nola, that's going to be free agent this season. I'm not sure they're able to bring both of these guys back. So interesting to see, where if he ends up staying in Philly, or if he's gonna, mix it up, maybe go somewhere else. Any predictions of that, Patrick?
Ooh, predictions for Hoskins. I don't think he's going back to Philly because to leave Philly because it's kind of a fan favorite there. But nice to see that the front office was transparent about the plan moving forward. So he'll try and find the new home. I think a good fit for Rhys Hoskins could possibly be the Minnesota Twins because I think the Twins are a team that could 23. With I forget what the injury was, but he didn't play at all this year, so it's gonna knock off a little, a couple $1,000,000 off the price. So I like threat in the middle of the order for the Twins. Maybe not a big homer threat, but a decent homer threat in the middle of the order for the Twins, and he's gonna come at a cheaper price. So I could see the Twins kind of seeing a fit there and him being the everyday first baseman out in Minnesota.
Yeah,
And
I
now we
like
move
that.
on. Oh, sorry.
You.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that fit. I think he's a good candidate over there. I can see that. Yeah, you can keep going though.
All right. So now, hold on. We forgot about the catcher. So, who do you think is, do you have any predictions for catchers?
This is a weak class we have. Um, I can see Mitch Garver going back. Actually, I don't know about him. This is tough.
It's a tough position, very thin.
Gary Sanchez. Who knows where he's gonna go? Tough catchers. They're so cheap, and these guys who aren't that good. You don't really know. I could, maybe he goes back to Yankees. That'd be something to see.
That would be interesting to see for sure. We'll move on to second base now. Uh, again, not with the Blue Jays. I think he fit. I thought he fit pretty well with the Blue Jays overall. Being able to play some corner outfield, play some second base, kind of being able to mix it up day in and day out, plug in wherever he needed to. Some other guys you have like a Tony Kemp from the A's. I mean, I don't know how good his market's gonna look because he was on the Oakland A's, and if the Oakland A's are cutting him, that says a lot. Colton Wong, is an intriguing guy. He, caught on with the Dodgers, I believe, after starting with the Mariners. Obviously, my guy Adam Frazier, he was our second baseman for the whole season. Did have a little resurgence in power, but the average definitely did dip. Very clutch too, so definitely something to note. Outside of that, really not much exciting in this second base position. Where do you think some of these top guys will land?
I think with Merrifield, I can see him fitting in the White Sox over there. He's just a utility guy. Really, you can put him anywhere. I think they definitely utilize him. I don't think a big. I mean, I think I'm going with the Dodgers. I think Dodgers pick him up. They like utility guys who can pretty much play anywhere, and this is the guy that can pretty much do that. So I think they, because they always got stars bouncing around. So to have a guy, maybe you pick up another big guy and he can just, Whit Merrifield can just fit in anywhere. So I think the Dodgers is my guess.
And now you got shortstop.
That's right. So for shortstop, we have, another kind of weak class. Ahmed Rosario, Brandon Crawford, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Tim Anderson. That's a big name. Didn't have a great season, but still, very good player. I think he can be, I think he's very valuable, even though he didn't have a great season. So Brandon Crawford, I think is a guy who's interesting. He's very old right now. He's 37. I don't know what kind of teams are going to want him. Maybe the Giants bring him back. So if I'm the Giants, I don't know. I feel like I kind of want to move on from that age. You also got Brandon Belt, free agent. So maybe, you just put that behind you. You move on. I think it's kind of part of the Giants. They got to get past those 2014 World Series teams and kind of get to the next era of Giants baseball. So I don't see him coming back to the Giants. And then Tim Anderson, I definitely see him move along. Hasn't worked out in Chicago. I can see him picking a new team. So that's what I can see with this class.
Yeah, like you said, it's not a very deep class at shortstop. I definitely see some like bottom of the barrel teams kind of trying to come in and scoop up some of these guys. Because there's just not a lot of talent here. A lot of these guys kind of being left out by their teams and being left as free agents. I could see like the A's kind of taking their pick on one of these guys, maybe like a Rockies, maybe like a Pirates or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of robust. It's not very exciting. And just not a lot of intrigue here. Maybe the Dodgers go after like a Tim Anderson. I've seen that in a few places. I think some of these guys could benefit from like being in a good spot in a good organization and kind of being rejuvenized. So I could see, like it seemed like the Dodgers taking like the Tim Anderson thing, like I said. So, but yeah, we'll see. It's not very exciting overall, though. Now move on to third base, and they're definitely I think this is probably the first kind of exciting position that we have. Matt Chapman is obviously going to be the headliner here. He was off to a really hot start this year and kind of, fizzled out a little bit as the season went on. but he is still an excellent defender, and he is still capable of being an everyday player at the third base position. Your guy Justin Turner with the Red Sox, he had a really good year, splitting time at the corner infield spots and DH. Jamer Candelario had a really good year between the Nationals and the Cubs. Urshela could be, intriguing in some places. Evan Longoria kind of, maybe is a veteran presence somewhere. Um, there's some guys here that you can look at and say, like, this guy could possibly help our team if we're able to do some stuff and tweak some things with him. Uh, where do you think this third base class could go?
I think a guy like Matt Chapman could have a very good season. I can see him want a lot of money, and I think it's good big money franchises. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be Yankees picking him up. They're gonna need. They still have a lot of money because they're the Yankees. They need to spend it. Josh Donaldson at third is not gonna work anymore. You need to try to do something different. So I think they pick him up. They add him to the lineup. And, that's I think here he's gonna go. He's gonna get a lot of money. Could have a good season. The Yankees are gonna give him that. I think Justin Turner is a guy who just returns to the Red Sox. Like, he had a great season. I think they love him in Boston, so I think he just returns. And other these guys like Josh Donaldson, I'm not sure if he gets. Maybe he does. He's 38. I think maybe he's just hanging up at this point. Same with like Evan Longoria, guys like that who are just too pretty much too old, and no one really wants them. And if they were to get a contract, I'm not sure how much they play. So I think that's what's going to happen with them. And then Juan Escar, another kind of guy who can kind of play around. I can see him. I think this is also a Yankees pick. They need middle infield or just infield in general, and just anyone really. So I think they pick up both Matt Chapman and Eduardo Escobar.
Pretty good. You could definitely see that fit there. Matt Chapman, I could see a fit back with the Blue Jays, honestly. Um, maybe like a Brewers, because the Brewers picked up Josh Donaldson, so maybe there's something there. I think Justin Turner could get an okay deal, like a 1 or 2 year deal. So we'll see. I don't know where Justin Turner could go. Maybe like I know that the Marlins are heavily invested in Justin Turner, and if he's able to put up the offensive production he did last year, that could definitely help the Marlins trying to move forward a little bit. I know they made the postseason, but it feels like they're gonna have to try and keep that mojo rolling because it might be tumbling apart a little bit. And now we move on to left field. Um, we got Lourdes Gurriel Jr. being the highlight of this class. Jock Peterson, another good name. Left-handed power bat, could potentially have a bounce back here. Tommy Pham, and then like Michael Brantley, Joey Gallo, David Peralta, some other just intriguing names. Lourdes Gurriel obviously is one of the better free agents this year. Was in the Dalton Varsho trade with the Blue Jays, came over from the Blue Jays, and he was instrumental to the Diamondbacks this year in their playoff run. I could see Lourdes Gurriel getting a good deal somewhere. I mean, we kind of say it for everyone, but the Dodgers is a good fit. Like, they were trying to mix and match out in the outfield a little bit, and Lourdes Gurriel could be a good option at 30 years old. The Marlins are a good option as well, needing that offense. Maybe like the Brewers, maybe. I know they kind of have a young, crowded outfield, but it never hurts to have offense. You could see a team like the Mariners coming in trying to take him. Jock Peterson could be a little biased here, but I think the Orioles are a very good fit. That left-handed power bat in Baltimore will play very well, and we could definitely use some power in the middle of the lineup. So you can see the fit there. There's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of power in this left-handed class. Even in terms of like kind of guys on the lower end, like you can still see some power production out of these guys. What do you see in this left field class?
I see a guy like Lourdes Gurriel, who was on that World Series team. And I think GM's looking at him and they're seeing a winner, and they want winners. I could see him getting a high price, and I think I'm gonna say he goes back to the Blue Jays. I think they're gonna think they made a mistake, and they're gonna want him back, and they're probably gonna get him because they're rich team, and I also think they're going to lose Matt Chapman, which will be hurt for them. So they're going to have money to spend, and they're going to pick up him. And then a guy like Jock Peterson. I mean, I can see Dodgers in this too. I think he's also a good. We do keep saying Dodgers, but he's a good fit. I think he's got power. They have a lot of guys who get on base, and I think just get Jock Peterson and bring him in. That'd be really helpful for them. I think Tommy Pham returns to the Diamondbacks. He's a good fit there. I think they're going to keep him. And then move on to the center fielders. We have a guy like Cody Bellinger, who's apparently back. He had a great season. I don't know if he is back. I don't know if teams are going to take a shot on him. I bet someone will. Someone's going to pay him. So he's an interesting kind of thing. If you want to take him, maybe you do. I don't know. Kevin Kiermaier, Michael A. Taylor, Adam Duvall. Adam Duvall was a nice season for Red Sox. The guys there. You got like Harrison Bader, Aaron Hicks for the Orioles. The question if they bring them back. And then they also got my guy, Jackie Bradley Jr. at the bottom there. Another guy who's probably on the back end of his career. I'm not sure he'll get a contract, but, he has a chance for the Red Sox. But I do like to see him there.
Yeah, center field has a lot better guys in like other positions, as you mentioned, like Cody Bellinger, resurgent year, at 28 years old, and could go back to the Cubs. He could be a Yankee. There's some intriguing fits there. I think Cincinnati could be someplace if they're willing to shell out some money. Maybe the Marlins if they're willing to shell out some money. I think the Yankees are probably the most realistic fit for Bellinger because they are shopping outfielders heavily this offseason. They're also looking at Kevin Kiermaier, who actually was able to hit pretty decently for the Blue Jays this past year, as well as keep that Gold Glove defense in center. Michael A. Taylor, I could see him returning back to the Twins. I think that was a pretty good fit there. Obviously, Buxton's a Gold Glove caliber defender, but you want to protect him because he can't stay as healthy as frequently. And I thought Michael A. Taylor, I thought that was a really smart pickup because he also has that Gold Glove caliber defense in center. So you're able to put Buxton at DH in the lineup every day, and then you're not really sacrificing much in terms of the defense in center of Michael A. Taylor. Adam Duvall, I think, will get a lot of intrigue as an outfielder. He's 35, but did have a very solid season for the Red Sox. Harrison Bader, Gold Glove caliber defender in center. I think he'll get a nice little deal somewhere. Aaron Hicks obviously had a little resurgence with the Baltimore Orioles. I was able to see that. I loved it, seeing Yankee pain. I think Aaron Hicks, there might be a little skepticism around, but I still think he'll get a better deal than he once would have elsewhere. I don't know if the Orioles bring him back because of the outfield logjam, but he could fit with a couple of teams, and hopefully he can hit better or he can keep up the hitting production because I really did enjoy his presence in Baltimore. Now we got right field. Right field's short, but there are a lot of good options, I would say. Teoscar Hernandez leading the charge with a 4.3 WAR this past season with these this offseason. Obviously, this will be like a lot more interesting when it comes to pitchers because everyone can use pitchers. But Teoscar, he was kind of hot and cold this year. A little cold at times, hot at times. So maybe that's why the Mariners didn't bring him back. And then you have a guy like Hunter Renfroe who's got some power in there. Bounce between the Angels and the Reds, and then Jason Hayward could be a good platoon option against some righties, as that's what the Dodgers used him for in this season. Kind of short, but these players are also kind of good.
Yeah, and top end talent. Hunter Renfroe had a really good year. I don't know. I want to see him. I want to see him back in Boston. I really like him as a player. He's a power guy. He's got like a cannon, great fielder. I'd really like to see him back in rep Boston again. Because he, get that deep playoff from him. If we could bring him back, maybe get another one or just help us make playoffs, I think it'd be a key role for us. And a guy like Teoscar Hernandez, I could see him landing in. I can see him landing in Angels. I'm not sure they're gonna land the big guy that everyone's talking about. So they're gonna have some money spent. I say they pick up him. That's just kind of heal their wounds. They're gonna need somebody to fill that, and I think they're gonna pick up Teoscar to kind of do that for them. It's not gonna fully, not gonna do the job, but it's something to help them out this season.
And now move on to the DH position. Obviously, there's a huge guy looming at this position, and that would be Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani will not be Jared, which does kind of hurt his value a little bit. But I still think he's going to get a bag somewhere, whether it's on a 1 or 2 year deal to a mega deal, and that team is just hoping that he can keep up the pitching production once he comes back healthy from Tommy John. Shohei Ohtani. I said this at the trade deadline. I thought he would go there this trade deadline. But as a free agent, I still think he's going there. I think he's going to the Dodgers. That's just too good of a fit there. It makes too much sense. The Dodgers have been very low key when it comes to big players, and I think it's because they're saving up for Shohei Ohtani. But in terms of other DHs, we got JD Martinez, Jorge Soler, Andrew McCutchen, who interestingly enough is 1 homer away from 300 career home runs. So most likely the team that signs him will get a historic moment with Andrew McCutchen. That's kind of it in terms of the good DHs. A lot of these guys are strictly DHs, and the ability in the field is limited a little bit aside from Shohei because he pitches and he's a literal freak. This is DH is kind of subjective because you can just kind of put anyone there, whoever you want. But there are some good ones out here. Or I think Jorge Soler is a very good one at 32 years old. Martinez, I don't know how good the production is going to be at 36, but there is something there. And then McCutchen's an all-time great, so why not take a flyer?
Yeah, and this is definitely obviously you got Shohei, so it's already good class. Everyone say the Dodgers, everyone say the Yankees, and guys, people like that, the big team. I'm gonna go hot take here. I'm gonna say he goes to the Diamondbacks. Straight off their loss, I think he's in the mode for winning. After some terrible years in the Angels uniform, he wants to win. And I think after just seeing this team make it to the World Series, he's all in. I'm going to say he signs with the Diamondbacks. They get their free agent, their big guy, to really help him get back there. And with Corbin Carroll, I think it's a good fit for him. And if he gets back to have him and Zach Gallen in the rotation, it would be so good for them. So I think they're going to bring Shohei Ohtani to Arizona, to Phoenix. I think that's the call on him. And for other guys, JD Martinez, I could see him going back to. I can see him not because Dodgers aren't going to get Shohei Ohtani. They're going to get their guy JD Martinez back. They're going to give him the money he wants, and they're going to bring him back for the hitting. And Jorge Soler, I'm gonna think he's going to go with Orioles this one. I think he's going to make a appearance with the Rose. I don't think they're gonna make one pickup at least. Have a great season and losing the playoffs. I think they're gonna need to do something. I think this is the guy to go after.
So you think that's the punch in the middle of the lineup for Baltimore next year?
Yeah, I think that's complete the offense. That's the guy holding us there.
Interesting fit. Now we move on to the starting pitchers. We already talked about Ohtani. I don't know why they have him listed as a starter because he's not gonna be pitching next year. But I think the headliner for this is Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola, big time guy for the Phillies. Then we have the Blake Snell, we have Sonny Gray, we have Jordan Montgomery, Clayton Kershaw, Marcus Stroman. back end of a rotation, or maybe even be a long man in the bullpen, swing man type guy. We'll just mainly be talking about the big ones, big boppers. Aaron Nola. I don't know where Aaron Nola could go. I think there are a lot of places he could go. Um, I'll say he goes to the Cardinals. I mean, like I think the Cardinals are going to be aggressive in terms of pitching. I think Aaron Nola could be at the helm of that. Blake Snell. Don't know where Blake Snell should go, or I don't know where he will go. I could see the Yankees coming in. I could see the Blue Jays coming in. I could see the Phillies trying to fill the void of Aaron Nola. I could see the Mets coming in. So I'll say the Mets for Blake Snell, I guess. Sonny Gray, I'll be a little aggressive. I'll say Baltimore. J Mont, I'll say goes back to Texas, and then Kershaw back to the Dodgers, and then Stroman. I'll say is now we'll just move on to the relief pitchers. We have Ronaldo Lopez heading this class in terms of WAR, and then like Josh Hader, Hector Neris, Craig Kimbrell, David Robertson. Bullpen is again very subjective. Great season with Padres. Hector Neris coming off great season with the Astros. And Lopez split time between the Guardians, White Sox, and Angels. There are a lot of guys you can look at and say like, put them in the back of your bullpen. So yeah, relievers are just kind of robust, and anything can come out of relievers. So, Brendan, any thoughts on the relievers?
Yeah, sorry for the internet connection. I'll come back. I'll just swing back to the starters real quick. Just say the top guys, and I'll go to the relievers. Aaron Nola, I'm gonna go with the Blue Jays for him. Blake Snell, I'm going Yankees. Sonny Gray, I'm gonna go with the Astros. Jordan Montgomery, I'm gonna say back to Cardinals. Clayton Kershaw, definitely a Dodger, and Marcus Stroman. He's gonna be Padre. That's my guess. Then for relief pitchers, Josh Hader. I think he's still got stuff left in him. He's still a good closer guy to have. I'm gonna say he's a Red Sox. They're gonna go for some pitcher, and I think he's gonna come to Boston, be a closer here. Or not just closer. Actually, yeah, he's gonna be a relief pitcher for the Red Sox. Is my guess.
So, if I was muted for the reliever predictions, I said Hader to the Rangers, Lopez to the Cubs, Nearest to the Orioles, and then Craig Kimbrell also to the Rangers. Brendan, any last thoughts before we wrap up the free agent class?
You know, it's some positions aren't as deep as others. Obviously, you got the big guy. I think everyone's gonna be watching. Where Shohei's gonna go? You know, it's definitely the talk of the league right now. What team he's gonna sign with? Even though he isn't pitching, he's still the most valuable player right now. It'll be exciting to see where he goes.
Absolutely. And that'll be the free agents for this year. Hopefully, we got you caught up to date on who could sign where this offseason. And we'll get you more coverage on the offseason in the coming weeks. So thank you so much for listening. As always, follow us on whatever platform you use, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Check out the merchandise in the description below. Get a hoodie for, fall season, winter season. Great quality. We both know it all too well because we both own the hoodies. Get a t-shirt if you want. We got a lot of good stuff over there. And that's all we got for today. So we'll see you next time.